Okay, so thank you guys for coming. I prepare a little presentation for you. I'm gonna pitch a little sequence, and I'm gonna walk you through my process so you get to know how I did it. Okay, so the key word is story. What is story? Which you know, there's a I mean any one of us can have any definition, right? But mine would be story is a designed narrative of characters and events told for entertainment or instruction purposes. So for me, even though it's like a sentence, I would pull out like three words: a design, characters, and events. And what would you say a story artist does? Okay, well, Uh, would would s- um would someone would like to answer this? What a story artist does?
Maybe visualize the story, how it look like.
How the story would look like?
Yeah, to
Okay,
visualize.
visualize the story.
The story artist is like a kind of a mini director, I think. You,
Right.
sorry for my cat. You design what you want the public to look at.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think a story artist is someone who translates the story in a good way, like visually, translates the story according to the need of the script, or according to the need of the character.
Right. Yes. Well, I think everyone is like hitting the pot. You're saying the right thing. But let's see what Mr. Walt Disney said. He said, the story man must see clearly in his own mind how every piece of business in a story will be put over. He should feel every expression, every reaction. He should get far enough away from his story to take a second look at it, to see whether there is a dead face, to see whether their personalities are going to be interesting and appealing to the audience. And he also should try to see that the things that these characters are doing are of an interesting nature. So I wanted to put this I mean this quote because in a way it tells you about design, you know, the design narrative. He says that you have to put every piece of business, every situation in the story and design it, you know, give it a structure. He also talks about the characters. You know, you have to know and you have to communicate how your characters are expressing themselves and how are they reacting, and you know, to work on their personalities. And finally, he talks about the events. He talks about making the actions of the characters, what the characters are doing, in an interesting manner. So he talks about design narrative, he talks about characters, and he talks about events. So, having said that, what a story artist must do is one, keep the audience pleased, excited, concerned, and wondering what is going to happen next. And this is design narrative. This is how you do it. This is how, I mean, you do it by giving it a structure to the things that are happening, you know, and they have to be appealing and exciting, and they have to attract the viewer, and they have to pull in the viewer. Two, the story artist must make the audience relate and care about the characters. This one here is very important because if you, I mean, take a look at every show and you look at them because of the characters. You fall in love with the movie because of the characters. So you really must work on the characters. You know, you have to have character development. You have to know your characters so you can make them act as a living thing. You know, you have to treat them as real people. So, like I said, it's character development. And three, A story artist must develop scenes filled with conflict, drama, build up without revealing away too much ahead of the story. Um, this is like the events, you know, the scenes, the situations, and every scene that you storyboard has to be appealing and has to be exciting, yes, but also it has to be dramatic. That the character must face an obstacle in order to get, I mean, to get to point from point A through the obstacle and point B. Every scene has to have conflict. There has to be a situation that is interesting. And also, I mean, just as a warning for all of you who want to become a story artist, a story artist is a one-man band, a one-man band. He has to be a director. He has to be a cinematographer. He has to decide every single aspect of camera work. He has to be an actor. He gotta know every single character. He's gotta know all of their motives, all of the what are they thinking, why are they doing the things that they're doing, everything. He's gotta know how to act. He must be an animator because when you're doing storyboards, all of your panels will become the work for the animator. It will become the reference for the animator to work and do their scenes. So you really gotta understand the scene on as an animator. You also have to be your editor because even though you're not doing the animatic, you will be doing you will be when you're doing the storyboard, you will be deciding when to cut one scene from another, and that's the editor's job. So you have to know how to edit, how to make transitions and how to cut from one scene to another. And at last, you have to be a story artist. I mean, you got to do the work. You got to do the panels. You got to do all the thumbnails. You got to do the actual storyboards. And now I will present this little sequence that I did. And I mean, I created this like as a feature film sequence. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the pitch of this sequence. The Master of Stars. So we see the starry sky, and then phew, a bright star appears and shines on. The camera goes down to an astronomical tower, and we go in, and the camera slowly goes into this child laying on bed, holding a golden cage. He's asleep, and then Jules. He wakes up. Dad, the star is here. We must hurry. He gets up. Are you sure? Of course I am. Bring the cage. The father leaves the scene. He grabs the cage and follows him. The father is looking through the telescope at the star. The star is on Saturn's way. Take a look. The son doubts, then takes the telescope and looks through it, and he sees the star. Yeah, Saturn's way. We will get the star back after all these years. And then the child turns away, and the father notices. He's surprised. What is it now? The child struggles. I don't want to go after the star. Not anymore. The father is shocked. But Jules, you're the only one who can. The father falls into the cage. The kid looks around. The father is just taking the cage, looking at it. Please, son, help me get back my star. And the child thinks, And then he looks out and runs to the to turn on the light of the tower. He looks up to the ceiling where all the planets are. They are turned on and they start to spin. The father looks up too. Fine, said the child. I will get the star, but this is the last time I try. Agreed? The camera zooms into the father. Agreed. And then Saturn swipes the screen. They are standing by this telescope. By the telescope. Jules, you can do this. The child nods. And then, here I go. And then goes into the telescope and starts to fly. And jumps up to the sky. Out of the planet. And through the planets until he arrives to Saturn. He flies there, looks up to the star, and there you are. He flies to the star, surrounds it, and then holds it. Gotcha. But the star then, the star is gone, and the child is sent back to the earth and falls. He looks up. His father is there, holding the cage, disappointed and mad. You have failed me, Jules. The child starts to cry. The star won't let me get her. You little liar. The father throws the cage at him. I have taught you everything I know about the stars, and you keep failing. But then the child also gets angry. Your star is gone. What? Your star is gone, and it's not my fault. She won't let me get her. She knows who her master is, and I am not. Shouldn't you know better? You, the master of stars? The father is taken aback. He falls to his knees and starts sobbing. Forgive me, son. The child cries, wipes his tear, and holds his dad's face. You have to let it go, Dad. Then suddenly, a light. The star arrives. The father smiles and stands and goes after it and grabs it. The star lifts him up, but then, Dad, don't do this. You are the true master of stars. Jules, you can let me go, son. And the child lets him go. And the father flies with the star to the sky and beyond. And the child is left alone. The end. So
Amazing,
that's it.
Francisco.
Bravo.
Loved it.
Lovely.
Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing. Yeah. Such
Um,
beautifully explained and narrated, like with all emotions up ahead.
yeah,
Loved
so
it.
that, thank you. So
Beautiful
this
stuff,
is,
Frank.
thank you, thank you. So this is how you pitch a sequence. And now I'm gonna walk you through the process on how I did the sequence, okay? So first you gotta know I did the whole thing in 2 weeks. So I think I have 6 steps that I will share with you. The first one is read and learn the script until you know it upside down. Whenever you do a storyboard, I mean, for the girl that asked me about how to handle the schedule and meet the deadline, this is a nice way and a process so you can have these steps and you can improve your skills and improve your time to deliver the work. Okay, So first of all, when you're delivered the script, you will have to read it until you know it upside down. Okay, read it as many times as you like, but you gotta know it by heart. And then you have to imagine the story and create exciting imagery. For example, in the story of the Master of Stars, when I did the script, uh, I also after that I started to think about what kind of images I wanted to use, so I can have like symbols or metaphors that could add some value of content to my story. For example, I'm gonna imagery after the imagery that I wanted to create was, for example, the cage. I wanted to create the cage. You remember it's something like this, right? Remember that?
Yes.
And the tower is the same shape, you know, because I wanted you to know and to understand that the child was caged. See? So in a couple of shots in the sequence, you see this image. You see that. Even in there's a shot where the dad throws the cage to the kid and he is caged. Remember?
Yes.
Remember? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to improve that I implement that idea visually. So that's how I did it. The kid and the father are inside a cage, and the child, you can see the child inside a cage. That was one idea. Also following that same idea, in the beginning, you see the child holding the cage. He's holding on to the idea that he is caged, that he is trapped. But in the end, you can see that the child is free of it, and the cage is in other place. So this is point A, and this is point B. So there's a little bit of a journey here because the child is no longer holding the cage. The child is, in a way, has let go what his father, and he's free now. So the cage is no longer inside his arms. Okay, so that will be imagine the story and create exciting imagery. You have to build up all these visual elements that will help you create the story visually. And then after you have all of these little ideas sketched out, you create the thumbnails. And when you create the thumbnails, you explore, but you also keep it very simple and very rough. When you do thumbnails, you really gotta see in a very um, tiny, in a very tiny manner, the whole sequence. Here you will find the sequence. You will find the cameras, you will find the acting, you will find the sequence. You will find the continuity of the events that you're trying to storyboard. Also, it's very good to do thumbnails, because if you make a mistake, or if the sequence you're doing, it's not working, it didn't take too much time, so you can correct it right away without having wasted a lot of time. 4, do character development, draw, sketch, improvise. For example, let me show you. Okay, here are the thumbnails for the Master of Stars. You see, I mean, it's just little panels that will inform you what is going on, and how to stage the characters, where to put the camera. But if you see the lines are very rough, are very simple. You just, I mean, they have to be readable, but you don't have to overdo it, you know? You just do it very quickly. And so you can see where the characters are, I mean, what's going on, if your sequence is working really well for you, if he has flow, if the story is saying something, this is how you do it. This is very fast. I mean, it doesn't have to take you much time to do this. Okay? Because if it's not working, then you can just throw it to the garbage and do something else. But you see what I mean when I'm talking about thumbnails, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Um, now, now I'm gonna talk about character development. For example, I knew that I had to do a father and a child, and since they were from an astronomy tower and they were stargazers, I based I based them on Galileo Galilei. So I took some of the elements of him and I did this, you know, and I did some explorations on the character. I mean, you won't have to do this. I did this because it was a personal project, but this is not necessary. What I'm trying to say here is that when I say that you will have to develop your characters, I'm talking about doing explorations with the characters because they are like actors, you know? They are like real people, so you have to rehearse in some way. You have to be you have to get to know them, and you have to know their model, you know. So you will have to draw them very quickly. So you must do this this character sketching. So whenever you're doing the storyboard, it will be very easy for you to draw them without thinking or looking back at to see the model sheet. You know, if you know them by memory, you will just draw them. You know, so it's really, really, really important that whenever you do a storyboard, you draw a lot your characters first, because you will find a lot of information from the characters. You will find them. You will find their personality. You will find the. I mean, you will find like the heart of the character. Because I know that there are cartoons or let's say imaginary characters, but in a way they must feel alive. So you gotta find that. You gotta find that. This kind of drawings are enough, you know. This kind of drawings like very fast as well. But you gotta know them. You have to be able to draw them in any from any point of view, you know, from back, from the back, uh, up front, you know, like from every single point of view. And number 5, it's know your world and walk your stage. When you're doing a scene, you have to know where the characters are standing. You know, you have to know the stage, the I don't know if it's I mean, whatever the scene takes place. And for example, when I created the Master of Stars, I did this little map. I don't have it at the moment, but I will show it to you. I will draw it to you. I knew that I will be having the father and the son in the tower and the star here, right? So it would be the father and the child. So this is how I planned all the staging of my camera, you know. So maybe if you take a look and very closely at my sequence, which is on my website, you can see it anytime. The star is always on the left, and the father and the son they're on the right. So when the child goes to fetch the star, he's always going to the right, to the left, I'm sorry. And when he returns, it's to the right. And when the father left, he leaves this way. You see? So that was a very simple staging. That was a very simple way to give a solution to where my characters were standing and what the world uh, how the camera moved in that world and how the characters moved in that world. So everything was practically like this. So here's the star and there's the characters. And when the star comes, she comes to the characters, you see? You see what I'm saying, right?
Totally.
Okay. So maybe you can say, oh, that's very simple, that's very foolish. But doing this will help you a lot on how to place everything on your storyboards. This is a map. So whenever you do this, you won't get lost on your boards. Okay? And then, for example, inside the tower, in the dome, you also have to know where are the things, you know. Here was a telescope, and here was the bed, and here are all the stars and planets, you know. It is also important that you draw this and you know how to do this, because maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some elements that you could use. It will depend on the scene or the screenplay, but it will give you, I don't know, um, a lot of information on how to move your characters around. For example, I don't know, just another option. For example, let's say that I know if here's the bed, and you would have done it differently. Maybe after the kid arrives and the father is really mad, he just destroys the bed. You know, he destroys the bed. Because but you can do that because you already know what's on the stage. You see? So in storyboards, the more information you have, the more you can use it on your favor. Okay? And finally, well, lights, camera, action. After learning your script, after creating this imagery, after doing your thumbnails and doing the character development and knowing your stage and your world, you get to do the actual panels, the panels that I just show you, those kind of panels. And that will be the end.
Very nicely explained.
Oh, thank you. Is there something that someone would like to say?
So the sequence is done on Storyboard Pro?
No, I created the sequence on Photoshop.
Oh, I see. I found it useful using comfortable drawing on Storyboard Pro.
Yeah, you can use you can use Storyboard Pro. Yeah.
But that's fine.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sorry, I have a question. Could you go back to the presentation where you wrote the points? And I have another question. I saw that you didn't use like a lot the grid, because I took a storyboard class and my teacher told me that I have always to put like the grid so I can know like the perspective. And I was like doing more like drawings like yours that doesn't have the grid. So I don't know how much you use this resource or if it is like obligate. How do you say?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay. Well, the grid, the grid depends on if it's not clear enough for you to see where the character is standing. I mean, you have to use the grid to make it clearer if the camera is like pointing downwards, upwards, or whatever. I didn't think it was necessary for me. I mean, I think there's some panels that I used it. In this case, because it's like a storyboard for feature, for animated feature, it's not that I wouldn't say necessary, but I didn't find it necessary when I was drawing it. But the grid is for you to understand where the character is standing, or where the camera, or where the camera is pointing at. That's the reason for the grid.
I had a question.
Hi.
How do you assume the timing of the scenes? Like, do you how many panels do you take for like a second, and how do you assume like how many panels will a specific scene will take, and then transition to another scene, and then how do you like timing of the panels, basically?
Well, I mean, since you already have thumbnails, um, it will be clear to you what's going on in that frame, right? So you will have to make sure that you're doing the extremes of the animation. See what I mean? For example, if if I have a shot where the character it's gonna look over that to that way, and that's the only action, well, you only do two, right? You do the extremes. You do this extreme pose and you do that extreme pose. I mean, it's something that I mean that's how I resolve it. Obviously, depending the action on the frame, you will have an idea of how many you need. Um, I mean, but I mean, it depends on each frame and the actions that are happening in the frame. But that's what I would say. Just do the extremes and just be enough drawing so it can have some sense of animation, some sense of movement of the scene.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey,
I have
Andrea.
a question as well. So basically, you said that to learn your characters better, you have to draw a lot of sketches of them beforehand before you start working on storyboard. So do you like have some kind of rule that you, for example, draw 2 pages of character sketches before starting, or do you like keep drawing them from time to time during the storyboard development? How the process is going?
Well, what I do is I just, for example, when I have a model of the character, I I go through that model and I try to be at the beginning. I try to be as exact as the model, to draw it as.
Mhm.
But then what I want is to bring out the personality of the character in my drawings, because it's an exercise for you to understand the character. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
once you understand the character, when you're doing the storyboards, it will be pretty easy to just keep drawing without thinking. So that will give you speed.
Oh, that's a nice touch. Okay, I will keep it in mind. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Hey, Chara.
I have another question. So in the storyboard you showed there are so many metaphors and like micro expressions and all that. how much of it do they give it to you in the script, and how much of it do you make up by yourself with your own creativity? Like, do you get to do that, or is it like about sticking to the script?
Hi. Okay. So, it's I mean, obviously it depends on the show. There are some shows that they have like they have like a universe that it's and characters that are very well established, but there's always some room for you to get creative and do some kind of creative proposal, you know? There's always room for you to bring out the things that you know, so you can implement a more meaningful, let's say, cinematography or acting or I don't know, whatever you like.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Chara, do you want to say
Hi,
something?
can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Nice. I have a question. So, when you have a script, usually it's easier to structure your work. But when you have to build up a personal project and you don't have a script, how do you usually, approach the whole thing? You write down, do you have some suggestion to, put it down in the proper way?
Yes. Okay, actually, I'm gonna share a big secret. Whenever I do like a personal project, before writing the script, I do like ball and sticks figures of the characters and what are they doing. So I do like like a strip of what is going on to see if I like the scenes that I'm doing.
Nice.
For example, here in the Master of Stars, I did all the poses of the characters and how they're interacting. For example, at the beginning, let me just explain it better. For example, in the beginning, I do like this. For example, like this. You see. And then I do this like the father, like in the bed. And I do like how the characters, like if I'm seeing the characters from far away, so I can know if I like their poses and if their poses are doing what I want dramatically. Because if you always go, if you always, I don't know, this is a personal thing. If you always go to the camera, you know, like for example, when they're like this, the father is like this, right? If you always go to the camera, I think that you kind of miss this, like how their bodies are standing. So that's how I approach my story, even before the script.
Thank you. That's
Sure.
good to know.
Thanks. Hi, Andrea. Andrea? Andrea Alpicler?
Hello. Hi, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Hi, Andrea. I'm from San Jose State University. Thank you so much for doing this, first of all.
Sure.
And I just wanted to ask, okay, it was kind of two questions, but the first one I wanted to ask is, how did you make the script? Because I also want to do personal projects for a portfolio, but I don't know really what to include. Where would you start in making a script, and what would you include in it?
Oh, well, uh, well, doing the script it's a lot of a little bit different than doing storyboard, I would suggest like read scripts, read a lot of scripts, so you and watch the movie of the scripts that you're reading, so you can understand the translation between a script and the actual product, you know, the final product. I mean, that's a start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I mean, I'm gonna elaborate. But yeah, I mean, if you want to write scripts, I think that you should go and I don't know, just write. You know, just do the three story structure. You know, the act one, act two, act three, um, simple things or study scenes. You know, go ahead and watch masterpieces. I don't know, but read the script as well, so you can understand why the scenes are working. Yeah, that will
Mhm.
be the answer.
Okay, thank you. And I guess another question I had real quick
Mhm.
was like, how long did each part of the process take for you on Master of the Stars?
Well, I created this in 2 weeks,
Mm,
so I would say let's say it was like I began on a weekend, so I think a weekend was when I did all the whole script and the whole characters
mm.
and thumbnails, and that's it, and the whole process before doing the storyboards.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
But I mean I want to I mean you also have to know that I've been doing this for years, so I have practice, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't know, for you it will take 3 days or 4 days, and that's okay. I mean, you will improve your timing, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much for reminding me.
Sure.
Okay, I have a question. If I'm working on storyboard sequence, am I able to include some mature teams, even if I'm applying for animation studio with kids, family content?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
When working on the storyboard sequences, am I able to include some mature teams?
Major team?
Mature.
I think
Mature teams.
he's asking
Oh,
about some
okay.
grown-up content.
Okay, well, when you're doing a portfolio, you really have to have a clear idea of what kind of studio you want to work for. So, for example, if you want to work for a studio that has adult themes, like, you know, like the ones that you mentioned, well, that will be
Yes.
appropriate. That will be appropriate. But if you want to, let's say, if you want to work for a studio that does preschool animated series, that wouldn't be very appropriate. So that's up to you. You really have to know what kind of projects you want to work on.
I understand. Even if I'm applying to adult animation, I won't include anything which has like inappropriate.
I mean, the thing is, when you're doing a portfolio, you have to be attractive. You have to be you have to have some appeal for the studios that you want to work for.
Yes.
Every studio is different, so you have to do your research and understand the studio that you're applying to.
Understood. And I have another question. Do animation studio hire artists who have with H-1B sponsor visa? Because it would be difficult if they want artists to be in USA within like 2-3 months.
I think it's possible, yeah, if you're good enough and they want you. It hasn't happened to me, but yeah, it's possible. I mean, just become a rock star.
All right, thanks.
Hey, I'm gonna go with Sonny Lance now. Sonny,
Hello.
hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. First of all, I really love your storyboard. I thought it was really cinematic. And my question is, um, when talking about jobs, would you recommend to have a style of storyboarding similar to what Hollywood film productions have, or is it better to have something more experimental? Because I know that sometimes movies from America follow a pattern, and they have their formula, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you have to understand that this is you have to deliver a work where there's a lot of people working. So it has to be it has to have it has to be readable for anyone who grasps the material and who can see it. So it's not really about style. It's more about function because it's gonna be hundreds of people working in the movie or in the series. Well, you know, there's going to be a lot of people working on the project. So it's not about style, it's about that it's readable and it's functional. You see?
Okay, I see.
So
Okay.
since the studio are like a big pipeline, you really have to serve the pipeline.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Arthur?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It's been really informative.
Sure.
And also my question is about speaking of like readability and managing like the like yeah, like readability for the next departments that are after storyboard. Do you think often about like specific camera lenses and like the difficulty of each shot, like the angle maybe, especially for like limited budget projects, maybe you can't afford to have like very hard shots all the time. So that's something that comes intuitively or like something that you're thinking about.
Well, first, I'd say you just go with the flow of the narrative. You have to surf the narrative. First, you have to understand the shots and what they're doing to you. I mean, if they're reading well, dramatically. Afterwards, then afterwards you can worry about all the lenses and all of that. To be honest, you have to have an idea of the lenses and of the exposure of your shot, but it's not your work as a story artist. You have to have more like a sense of cinematography, but in the in an aspect of of how big the image is or not. You know how where the camera is placed, and that's it. That will be enough.
Okay. All right. And just a second quick thing, kind of tying in with what people asked before, but the how much creative input you have on the script and like how many things you can change. So that's something maybe you should um converse and like talk to a director first before like making a change, or is it something that usually you can like try and show? Is that like how's the communication between the board artist, the story artist, and the director about this?
Yeah, well, obviously there's an open communication. You can go to the director anytime you want, and you can implement. I mean, you can bring to the table as many things as you like, and he can decide. Obviously, I mean, when you do this, you're always trying to improve the storytelling. You know, you're always trying to like add some more meat to the story. So if you have good ideas and if you um I mean, if he likes what you bring bringing to him, he would say yes. I don't know why. I don't know why he wouldn't agree, you know?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Tabitha? Tabitha?
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Uh, I have a question. It's more of your thought process on, do you have a base rule on what kind of shot you want to make on each scene? Like
Mhm.
when you make the opening from the Master of Stars, you start with the star and then go down to the astronomical tower and then you go into the child sleeping. Is it like are you following a basic rule or are you improving from like creative freedom, something like that?
Well, no, actually, it was a very simple, I mean, it's just very simple introduction of the world. I mean, if you remember my sketch about the world, which is the tower and the star,
Yes.
remember that? Yeah,
Yes.
that was it. That's how I came up with that shot. I mean, it honestly, it tells it that shot is the whole world of the story.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I'm still wondering.
Okay.
Well, it's the first one is like the world stuff, and then the next one I want to know about like the choices for like conversation scene, like when is the best to cut to another scene or to another character, and when is like to keep it going when they're talking, something like that.
Well, obviously the scene has a rhythm, right? So that rhythm is it's given by what is happening. So, for example, they're having a conversation first, and then they're having a discussion. So, in that discussion, there's like actions. So those actions are the ones that determine when to cut from one scene to another. And that's something that you as a storyboard artist, since remember I told you that you're also a director. So as a director, you have to make those choices and you have to make those decisions on when to cut or where to put the camera.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's helpful a lot. Thank you very much.
Sure. Atefe, Fatih.
Hi. Hi,
Hello.
Francisco.
Hi.
I have a question about how fast should we do it, you know, as a story artist in the animation industry, the average output of our daily work in this industry should be how many plans or how many minutes of story.
Okay, that was that was so many questions at once. So first, you want to know how fast you should do a storyboard?
Yeah, in the animation industry.
Okay, well, it depends on the project and the studio. They give you a certain time, but you really have to work on your skills, your drawing skills, so you can come up with graphic solutions as quickly as you can. I know this sound might sound scary, but it's not. I mean, if you draw every day, you'll get used to it, and it will be something like you won't even notice it. You know, you won't even notice how fast you can become, but you have to draw every day. That's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Isabella? Isabella?
Hi.
Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Um, First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was really good. My question is about the part that you actually storyboard. I've seen people online doing like rough passes of storyboards and then they do a more detailed version of the storyboard. So that where do they detail the drawings or they do lighting and shading in the drawing if that's necessary for the specific shot. So I just wanted to know, how does it work for you? If you think it's worth it to do a rough pass first and then do the final version, or anything. Any thoughts about that?
Okay, yeah, I mean, obviously a rough pass, it's very, uh, I mean, it serves and it works. We can definitely do it because, I mean, the more rougher you do it, the less time you would spend on things that might not be working. So that's how that's why you do rough, you know? So if it's working on rough, it would work on clean.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, we have last question from Margaret,
Right.
and then we have some few on the chat.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, thank you so much. And since I noticed that like Master of the Stars is a board for fiction animation, that they usually demand to color and add some lighting to the board. So in your board for Master of the Stars, what's your process on coloring the boards? At what point you start taking into account the lights and shadows on the story, or is it like the last step after you have all your shots and poses defined?
Well, my only thoughts on lighting was when the child turn on the light of the tower and all the planets start spinning. That was one thing, and the other was the scenes where the star appears. That was my only thought on the lighting. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, kind of. Can I add like how much time did it take to color the boards? Did you make like a rough thumbnailing process of the color script, for example, or do you think that's going too far?
No, I think that's going too far because you will I mean you certainly have to have an idea of if there's gonna be a change of light. But since I mean this is just storyboarding, so it has to be really rough. Even though it's clean, it has to be rough. And I mean, how should I tell this? You only do it when it's very important dramatically. See? I mean, the storyboard is not a stage of the process where you have to be very concerned about the lighting. So you only have to do it when it concerns a very specific dramatic action in your story. For example, here, the star is very important. So whenever she appears, I had to do some kind of special lighting, right? I mean, it's a star, it's made out of light. So obviously I had to do something with the light. But also it was important for the dramatic beats. For example, when the father and the star and the son are on the floor, and then there's some lighting that shows that the star is coming and they turn. It was important to have the light, but otherwise I wouldn't have added the light in that specific shot. See what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes, Neha. Neha has a question.
Yeah, just
Okay.
one small question. Do you ever get to show the importance of color in storyboards? Because I've never seen storyboards with colors in them. So when a story has like something like when color plays a significant part of it, do you like color your storyboards?
Yeah, you can use color. I mean, it's not very common because it takes more time, but maybe when you do have like a very important scene and it will add to the emotion, you can use color. Or maybe, for example, in the Master of Stars, I was trying to highlight the cage. So that's why I colored the cage with yellow.
Yeah. Mm.
So maybe when you want something to become really emotional or when you want to highlight something, that's when you do it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
For example, let's say you do a sequence where there's a scientist and he's creating like I don't know, like this chemicals, right? And the chemical is green. Well, you use green in your storyboard so you can highlight that the chemical is dangerous or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's that's how you use it.
Yeah, thank you. So you mean like by coloring just the specific elements which are important, right?
Right, right. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's one question on the chat. Sophia is asking what kind of a portfolio one should have, either it's a drama, action, or a comedy.
Okay. Can you please repeat the question? I'm not able to find it.
So, she's asking like what kind of a portfolio should be, what kind of a storyboard should be there in the portfolio? Like, if it is a action story, or drama, or a comedy.
Well, it depends on what do you like to do best. Because if you let's say if you're very good at doing drama, then I suggest that you go ahead and do more drama, right? But I think it's best for any of us to just do a portfolio with the three kind of uh, genres, drama, action, and comedy, so we can have better chances at finding a job.
That answers your question, Sophia? Yeah, I think so. All right, Shipra, go ahead.
Hi again.
Hi.
Just ahead of the technical storytelling, storyboarding, what's your take on AI with regard to, I mean, in the coming years, how it will affect the storyboarding industry?
Um, I mean, everyone is very concerned, and I see that there's a lot of discussion about it, but I don't think that there's gonna be one. I don't think that I really don't think that AI will take out the job out of artists. I mean, I don't think that someone can handle all the craft of the storyboard artist. I don't know. I wouldn't be that concerned.
Sure, thank you.
Francisco, you are telling about the mentorship?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So guys, we
Okay.
are planning for 8 weeks of mentorship from 16th onwards. It's starting from 16th onwards. It's basically typically of two type catering to two type of people. One who are absolute beginners or the beginner to intermediate level. And there's one category we have made it. Those who are already into a level where they'll think that it's an intermediate or too advanced and still want
Yeah.
to polish and want to make things more clearer, it's one for them. So we'll take it like 2 days, one day for the advanced people and one day for the beginner to intermediate level people. So this is how the classes will gonna be structured, and the courses, this is what you're gonna learn. Yeah, Francisco.
Yeah. So yeah, I it's been already mentioned. We're offering a storyboard workshop for 8 week class. One is a basic for those who are just beginning, And those who have more abilities or more development on their storyboard abilities, we have the advanced story workshop for the 8-week class. Okay, so I mean, we obviously gonna learn about the cinematic language, you know, the camera and angles and everything. We're gonna do the script breakdown. I'm gonna teach you how to do how to read and how to break down a script. Also, the creating of thumbnails, which is very important, and as well doing the character development, you know, to understand the characters better and to help yourself while creating the storyboards. And finally, the main reason for the workshop is to create a story portfolio piece so you can add it to your portfolio and you can start maybe your career or improving your portfolio. And also, while we do this, you will have like a storyboard feedback from me, and also your partners, you know, your fellows from the class.
So that's all. Is there anything you
Yes.
have prepared for the advanced class curriculum as well?
I think I'm sharing. I'm sharing. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I prepared this one. Like, hey, want to learn how to do storyboards? And I did this, like the basic storyboard workshop. I thought you were seeing it.
Yeah, yeah, we are seeing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is what I have. The basic storyboard workshop and the advanced storyboard workshop. And some of the themes are like the ones that I mentioned.
Okay, perfect. So it will anyway be applying for the both category, right?
I'm sorry?
It will anyway be applying for the both categories, advanced and beginners.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has to be like, I mean,
Yeah.
they have to understand what are their abilities at the moment, so they can choose if they're going for the basic workshop or the advanced workshop.
Yeah. Also, we'll review the portfolio. Those who are interested, they can just drop their portfolio. We already have, but once you finalize the decision, you just drop your portfolio. So Francisco will just have a look whether you should fit in the beginner to intermediate level, or like you are really fit for the advanced class. Because advanced will be having much more upgrading things and all. So, and beginners will anyway gonna be the same. So yeah. All right, Francisco. Yeah, also the cost for this both classes, either it's an advanced program or it's a beginner level. The
Yeah,
cost
we
is
maybe
yeah.
Katuk, maybe we can I mean, let's just announce this and then have the post for the dates and for the price and for
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, we will be sharing with you guys on the Instagram account
yeah.
all the
Hmm.
details so you can have more clear idea of what is coming up next.
Exactly. Yeah. And the cost will be what we have decided is like something $415, which is around 35K in Indian currency. And yeah, which can be paid in two installments as well, because since we are doing this classes for at least these classes will gonna go for 2 months, 8 weeks. So 4 week, every Sunday we'll be taking one class, followed up with the assignment. And yeah, that's it. So
Yes.
also Francisco, like in the assignment for the mentorship, what exactly they will be preparing. So as I have been discussing with you yesterday.
You mean what will they be doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they will create a sequence for their portfolio.
Okay.
I mean, we will go from the whole process, you know, from the script through the thumbnail, through the character development, through everything, so they can start creating the storyboard panels and have it ready for their portfolio.
All right, perfect. So that's all, I guess. Um, anyone has anything to ask for that? For the mentorship or something? Any questions? Yeah, Chiara.
Hey, I was wondering, so the whole mentorship will have as an outcome a storyboard piece for each participant. It's right?
Yes, that's right.
And it will be like the same script for everybody, or
Well, I will work on a one-page script. If anyone wants to work on that, or maybe they also they can bring their own script, so they can work on in their own story. But we won't be working on the screenplay.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if someone doesn't have a story, would they have to write their own story?
yes, for example, if right now you're interested in the workshop, and let's say we start the workshop in 2 weeks, well, these 2 weeks work on your screenplay so we can start to do the storyboard when we already doing the workshop, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right. And if someone doesn't have a story or couldn't able to make it, couldn't able to think in that way, a story
Uh,
way.
I mean, I do have like a one-page screenplay that it's like a generic, so they can do their characters and work with that screenplay.
All right. So you will be providing that.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's all I think, guys. And if there's anything would like to share or something, let us know.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you all for coming to the workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it instructive. And see you at the
Absolutely.
workshop.